So in today's class we are going to do stability in frequency domain. Now we know this for a long time that the stability depends on the roots of characteristic equation, that the root should be or the pole should be on the left half of S plane in is what the transfer function stability criteria tell me. Now the Nyquist stability criteria, it determines the stability of closed loop system from its open loop frequency response or characteristics, and also its open loop pole. We will all today what we will do is just to see what this statement means. Okay, so what does this do? It relates open frequency response. So again, all the analysis, this is important because I just look at the open loop transfer function GH and I can tell you what the closed loop behavior is, right? So that is what Nyquist will tell us very shortly, right? So Nyquist plot relate the open loop transfer function, open loop frequency response, to the number of poles and zeros that lies in the right half S plane of the characteristic equation. Now we will see how we arrive at this. Just consider a function QS, which is again is usual term. You can say it is transfer function which has m zeros and n number of poles, and usually this n is greater than or equals to m. Okay, so what is S here? S is a complex variable. Real part is sigma, omega is my imaginary part, right? So if this is a complex variable, the function QS is also a complex variable. Let me call that u plus jv in new x's. So I start from sigma plus j omega and I go to u plus jv x's. Why this map of QS, mapping, right? So this Q takes S, it compute all these things and give me QS. No, not complicated, not get worried, right? So what does this mean is that every point in S in this S plane, we'll just see. So if I take, let me just see here. So this is my S plane, and for every point here on S plane, okay, let me just call this point as S1. There might be a corresponding point QS1, suppose somewhere here. Not there, might be here, right? Anywhere we will calculate that for all the point which QS is analytic, where I can actually compute this, right? So we will not go into the definition of analytical function, but we just say that, well, I can compute it almost at all the points except when Q is analytical, right? So for S1 there will exist a QS1. Similarly, if I take here S2, there will exist a QS2, and so on. Whatever point a QS1, similarly QS2 here. So whatever point here, at some corresponding point here, we will have a corresponding QS. Okay, so the function QS maps, this QS function will maps the S plane. So this is my S plane, and this, by this QS, this function Q maps S plane, which is equals to sigma and j omega, to the QS plane with the coordinates, I will call them u and v. This is what this particular expression tells us. Okay. This is nothing surprising, nothing new. We can just say, well, you know, we avoid points like s is equals to beta 1, right, in that function where the QS may not exist. Okay, we will avoid points like s is equals to beta 1 or s is equals to beta n or s is equals to alpha 1, because at that point s is not existing. So we avoid all those points, or what we call as singular point. Okay, so that is what the contour in S plane, which do not pass through any singular point. There exists a corresponding contour in QS plane. The contour is, again, if we will see the last, the contour is like this. It is entirely map, which I take here, right? So I just take this little closed loop here and I say something else happen here. Well, I just may have to make sure that I don't hit a point where s is equals to beta 1 or s is equals to beta 2. So I don't hit s at the poles, and because at that point QS is not defined, but for all other point it is defined. Okay. We will not necessarily be interested in shape of the contour, right? We will just say there is a contour which maps to a contour. Okay. On the another side, our aim here is to detect if there are any pole of closed loop system in the right half plane. And when I detect this, I have, there is direct implication of what we call as stability. So I do a trick where, say, well, I ask myself a question, does there exist a pole on right half plane? I do a graphical technique. If my answer is right, yes, the system is unstable. If answer is no, well, the system is stable. So let's just say, ask few question, what does it means when QS plane encircle the origin, right? So this is little important here. So why I am not interested in the shape? It could be this one which we have seen earlier, that we were having some some shape in S, and then that has been transferred in. Okay. So why I am not really interested in shape? It could be this one here. It could be just something. I am just interested in the origin. Does contour on QS plane contain the origin? Not necessary here. Now let's start by considering the case when S plane contour enclose only 1 of 0. It is enclosing 1 of 0. So let me draw 0 here, and I will call it as alpha 1. So all other poles and zeros are outside. Like assume like here is beta 1, here I am having beta 2 or something, like alpha 2 is here. Okay. Now giving this complex number, I can compute magnitude of QS and blah blah, and I can also compute the angle, right? The angle of 0 minus the angle of poles from this function. Okay. So let's see here. So this is contour in S plane, which encircle a 0. Okay, so let's see, as the point S follows a path in clockwise direction. Now let's see, I'm here and I just take a clockwise direction. So all the way I just end up here. If I take a clockwise direction, I will end up here with respect to this. Okay, so I just say, looking at this particular phase, right, what does this do? This actually has to rotate all the way and come back, which is it does a net angle, or it generate a net angle of 2 pi, because the positive angle we measured as anti-clockwise. Okay, positive means anti-clockwise. Okay, so what does this do? This angle for the pole beta 1, well, it does here. This phasor will move here, again it will come back. So its movements is from here to till here only. Okay, whereas this angle will rotate whole of 2 pi if it's inside. Okay, so how much angle is generated? Well, for this the angle is 0. Similarly, this guy again just go from here till, from this end to this end, again angle is 0. Similarly for this guy. Okay, and alpha 2 will generate 2 pi. So if I just was to mark this, the guy would be a phasor. This alpha will be a phasor of S minus alpha 1. Okay, first you can write it here. So it generate an angle of 2 pi, while all other phasors generate an angle of 0. Okay, so carefully we go to the next statement. What does this means? That QS phasor also should undergo a net phase change of 2 pi. So it is something like this, right? If I take a QS here, okay, and I know Q maps S plane to QS plane. So if S undergo a phase shift of 2 pi, so this also should undergo the phase shift of 2 pi just for the expression of QS. And the tip of QX phasor, which is this guy, it describe a contour about origin. What happened when S is equals to alpha 1? This is origin. So this guy map to the origin here. Okay, so again I have two zeros, alpha 1, alpha 2, two poles, beta 1, beta 2. I just know like this, pick this guy alpha 1, and I just generate a contour along with clockwise direction. So I go here, I see this guy also generate a contour, right, a closed curve again in clockwise direction. I see that this guy also generate a contour, right, a closed curve again in clockwise direction, right. Then I just measure this phasor, and also the angle that is just from the direction, right. And I can just measure the phasor and the angle that just come from alpha 1 and beta 1 and beta 2. And not only that, if I am encircling a 0 here, I will encircle origin here. That is because S is equals to alpha 1. My map, what does QS do when S equals to alpha 1? It map with origin. So it's very simple way of understanding this. There is actually much complicated proof, some complicated. So I'm sorry, some complex analysis which we will not go into, but we will just learn what complex analysis is telling us. We just believe that what people from complex analysis told us, but we will just use it in our own way, right? We will just be a little smart and translate in our own language and say, well, this information which they provide is correct and will actually helps me in my stability analysis. So what happened when my contour encircle or enclose to 0? So let me just draw this. Say this is 0 here and there is 0 here. Okay, I just got this. So this is my S plane with sigma and j omega. So what will happen here is that I will encircle the origin twice. Suppose once like this and another by like this. Okay, so shape is not really important. What we are interested in the encirclement of origin. So you have U, JV. Okay, similarly there is n zeros. I will encircle origin n times. Again n, this is clockwise, this is clockwise direction. Okay, now lastly, if the contour do not enclose any pole or 0, as I said earlier, so if I just here, I will just be here. I will not trouble air anything if I am just here. Okay, so it will never encircle the origin. That is what the Q map tells me. Now what is encirclement for a pole? So let's say again I do the same thing, just draw it here. Let's say I have a pole here and this was B1. Okay, what I had a pole here earlier, this was B2. I had a 0 here, I had a 0 here, so alpha 1 and alpha 2. Okay, now again let's say I'm just having a contour where I do this, right, the guy, and I start here and like this. So this phasor is S minus beta 1. Okay, so what happened again, let's say all the angles, right? So I'm starting here, I will rotate and I will come here. Now does the phasor alpha 1 change? If I just prove this with the pen, the phasor alpha 1 and the clockwise direction, it goes here, traverse all the way and just it's again here. Okay, which means it generate an angle of 0. So again just look at here, this will also generate an angle of 0, this will also generate an angle of 0. What beta 1 is doing? Beta 1 is in this position. Okay, it just go here, 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 and it will come back. Okay, again the phasor S minus beta 1, it will just show this here, it generate or it transfers an angle of 2 pi minus 2 pi as S transfer along closed path. Therefore what will happen here is in the S plane, QS, have an angle change of 2 pi, say something like this here, but positive 2 pi, because s minus beta 1 occurs in denominator angle always become minus when I am talking of the angle of a pole, and this means again I just have a encirclement of 1, encircle 1 and encircle origin once in the counterclockwise direction. Now again we don't really see what exactly we are encircling the origin. It is the same argument as before, right? So what we will just try to understand is following that: if in the S plane the encircle 0 in the clockwise direction, so if there are more than 1 0, say 5 zeros are there, I will have encirclement 5 times. I will encircle the origin once now in the counterclockwise direction, because I am looking at pole which contribute an angle of negative, so it goes to the denominator. Okay, so therefore I can just say something more now. If there are p poles and z zeros of QS encircled by the S plane, so let's say you have, if I just draw, you are having 3 poles, 2 zeros. Okay, so I'm not really interested in where these poles are, right? Then there could be stable, there could be unstable, or the marginal axis at the origin, imaginary axis at the origin. So whatever I'm talking about is stability at all. I'm just saying, well, say there is a pole here, there is a pole here, there is a pole here, 0 here, 0 here. Say one pole here, right? So I will just have a contour which encircle all. Okay, now I just say in S plane I encircle all of them. This is sigma, this is j omega in S plane. Then corresponding Q plane contour must encircle the origin z time in the clockwise direction, and in this case it would be 2 times in clockwise, p times in counterclockwise direction. Number of poles, 2 zeros, 2 times in clockwise direction, 3 poles, 3 times in anti-clockwise direction, and the net encirclement is p minus z in the counterclockwise direction in this example, because 3 minus 1 is 1. Okay, and which means we are encircling in counterclockwise or anti-clockwise direction. That's why if the number, if say, well, I will say this number will always be greater than 1, or even if it's less than 1, it couldn't really matter, because it's minus 1 times counterclockwise means 1 times in clockwise direction, so the sign will take care of themselves. Okay, so we know about encirclement, the mapping from S plane to QS plane. What happen if the encircled pole and zeros in the S plane? How does it reflect on the QS plane? That I know now. What is the relation to the stability and the standard zero form? I know that my open loop transfer function is GS HS, has again some set of zeros, some set of poles, right? And my characteristic equation is 1 plus k. QS is 1 plus k. Again the side of zeros and the sides of poles, and I will write this equation. If I write, it will be S plus P1, S plus P2, S plus Pn plus k, and this whole term S minus S plus Z1, then S plus Z2, like this, and the denominator. Okay, so I'm just replacing with this z1 dash. So now number is no longer m, now it is n here. It's by mistake it's written n, it's n, m, it's n, because this will go again, say by this equation it will be n times. Okay, so this will also be s power n, this will also be s power n, so this will have n zeros and n poles. Okay, and the zeros of qs are the root of characteristic equation. So this is the transfer function with a set of zeros and set of poles, and qs going to 0 would give me that all this x, s plus z1, s plus z2 dash should goes to 0. Therefore zeros of qs, nothing to do with the plant and nothing to do with gh now. So we are just going to do this 1 plus k and this 1 plus gh, only the characteristic equation, and the poles qs are the same as the system poles. Okay, so that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.